Imagine walking into a busy shopping mall, where hundreds of people pass by without noticing one another, and yet a single small act of kindness changes the life of more than one person forever. If you're hearing this right now, stay with me till the end because this story is going to move your heart, and if it does, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss more inspiring stories like this one. It all began on an ordinary afternoon when Armin, a middle-aged janitor, was sweeping the marble floors of the city's most luxurious mall. He wasn't rich, he wasn't powerful, and no one ever really paid attention to him. To most, he was invisible, a man who quietly cleaned up the footsteps of strangers and faded back into the background. But deep inside, Armin carried a heart full of empathy, one that life's struggles could never harden. That day, as he pushed his mop across the polished floor, he noticed a young woman standing by the entrance. She looked nervous, her eyes darting around in confusion. In her hands, she clutched a small piece of paper with writing on it. People rushed past her, brushing her shoulders, some annoyed at her hesitation. Armin paused. Something about her seemed different, her lips moved slightly, but no sound came out. Then it struck him, she was deaf. She was trying to ask for directions, but nobody cared enough to stop. Armin's heart tightened. He hesitated for a moment. What could he do? He didn't know sign language. But then he remembered something. His daughter, years ago, had a friend who was deaf, and she had once taught him a few simple signs. They were clumsy, broken, but maybe they would be enough. He set his mop aside and slowly walked toward the woman. She looked up, startled, as if expecting to be ignored once again. But instead, Armin smiled softly and raised his hands. With trembling fingers, he signed, "Hello. Can I help you?" The woman's eyes widened in surprise, then welled up with tears. For the first time that day, someone had seen her. Someone cared enough to try. She handed him the paper. It was a note scribbled with the name of a clinic inside the mall. Apparently, she had an appointment but couldn't find her way. Armin nodded firmly. He motioned for her to follow him, and together they began walking through the maze of escalators and glittering shops. Along the way, people stared. Some giggled, mocking his imperfect signing. Others simply ignored him. But Armin didn't care. Every gesture mattered, every smile counted. What neither Armin nor the young woman knew was that high above them, on the glass balcony of the mall's top floor, someone was watching. A man in a tailored suit, sharp-eyed and silent, leaned against the railing. His name was Daniel Kahn, a billionaire CEO, owner of several luxury brands, and the very reason that mall even existed. He had built an empire that touched millions of lives, but his own heart often felt untouched, hollow, even. Today, as he looked down, he expected to see only prophets walking in the form of shoppers. Instead, he saw a janitor bending down to make sure a deaf visitor felt safe. Daniel didn't move. He watched every sign, every smile, every ounce of genuine care in Armin's actions. And something inside him shifted. He thought of his own late mother, who had struggled with hearing loss in her final years. He thought of how lonely she used to feel when no one bothered to slow down for her. And now, a simple janitor was doing what wealth and power often failed to do. He was making another human being feel valued. By the time Armin led the young woman to the clinic, she was smiling through her tears. She clasped his hands gratefully and signed, "Thank you. You are kind." Armin only nodded, his own eyes glistening, then walked back to his mop as though nothing extraordinary had happened. To him, it was just the right thing to do. But Daniel Kahn couldn't let it go. Later that evening, he asked his assistant to call the janitor to his office. Armin entered nervously, wiping his hands on his uniform. He had never been this close to someone so powerful, and he wondered if he was in trouble. But Daniel rose from behind his desk and extended his hand. "I saw what you did today," Daniel said softly. "You didn't know anyone was watching. You didn't expect anything in return. But you reminded me of something priceless, that kindness is the greatest wealth a man can have. Armin blinked, unsure of what to say. Sir, I just wanted to help. And that, Daniel replied, is exactly why I want to help you. To Armin's disbelief, Daniel offered him a new position, not as a janitor, but as the head of a community program the company was starting, one designed to train employees in empathy, accessibility, and sign language so that no visitor ever felt invisible again. Armin was stunned. He had never dreamed of such an opportunity. All he had ever known was hard labor, survival, and quiet dignity. But now, his simple act of kindness was about to touch thousands of lives. The following months transformed not only Armin's life but the entire company. Workshops were held, new accessibility features were added to stores, and employees began to see customers not just as wallets but as human beings. The deaf young woman who had once been lost returned one day, this time smiling as she was warmly welcomed by staff who could now communicate with her. She found Armin again and hugged him, whispering through her hands, "You changed everything." And from the balcony once more, Daniel watched. But this time, he wasn't alone in his thoughts. He knew that the empire he had built was finally growing a heart, thanks to a janitor who had refused to look away. So if you're still with me, remember this: greatness doesn't come from only your power.